And we are back. And excellent. Everything is working because we had a minor technical difficulty there, which has gone away. And by that I mean I fixed it because I'm great.
Because you're amazing.
Because I'm very, very clever. Now we have advanced our track. Now, are people keeping track of their own long-term clocks in the sheet?
No, but I can.
What I would do is
I
I would
put
put
it
it in your
into
bio info.
notes.
Yeah, notes, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So yeah,
Okay.
it's such, like this many out of this many for your clocks. Cool. All right. So do we want to do Diana's second action yet, or do we want to do like whose second action do we want to do first? Does Diana and Tash have still got one to finish?
I don't mind either way.
May as well do Diana next.
Cool. All right.
So,
Same order as last time.
Do you know what your second action is going to be?
I was curious. So, thinking about what Diana's likely to do, would lay low actually affect in a positive way? Like, because we generated quite a bit of heat, but it wasn't specifically on her.
So lay low is for the crew. You reduce this crew's heat.
But so one person can do it and the others don't have to, or is that something we all have to do?
I mean, let me check to see how that looks in Blades, because that's a thing where like it's not as well described in this book as it is in Blades.
Yeah, it's kind of abstract.
It makes sense as something that we have to do as a crew.
Yeah, it does. I agree. Long-term project, reduce heat.
But then, like, we can do things as a crew that are just one person's downtime action. Because, like, I was helping with your vice roll and stuff.
Yep. So what it is you do something that reduces the heat for the crew.
Cool.
That's how that works. So laying low might actually be laying low, or it might be you like talk to a certain person and pay some bribes, or something like that. Yeah, it can be a bunch of things.
Cool.
It's what do you feel like you would be doing to reduce the heat of the crew?
Yeah.
Well, like I just kind of figured that she's quite used to things, like to being fairly basically from her perspective, the last thing that happened was a pretty major clusterfuck. So. And even though it's probably going to be like that every time, which is based on the combination of insanity that's sort of going on between all of the characters, she doesn't know that, so she probably thinks that was quite a disaster. So like trying to sort of keep her head down makes a degree of sense.
Yeah, if you want to try and like get some of the heat off you. What do you do? What does it look like to try and like make this heat die down?
I suspect it, like in her case, it's probably like, because she doesn't think in terms of just sitting there and doing nothing so much as actively, like I think for her it would be talking to some of the people she knows and just getting a sense of exactly how deep they are in it. So probably not physically doing much, maybe like sending communiques to a few people.
It sounds like you're consorting. To lay low. So, and it sounds like you from your position, you're in the RIN system, and the heat is on in the RIN system. But like also because that's a governmental system, you've probably got more contacts here. So I feel like it's a controlled consort to try and lay low.
Okay.
Also, do we know what our heat is at any given point? Or like I wanted level.
So you're currently, your heat is, so the way it works is that your heat ticks over and becomes a wanted level. So you've currently got 4 heat, but you don't have any wanted.
Okay, awesome.
So laying low isn't going to, so because you don't need to do a clock, you'll like by laying low, you'll just reduce by 2 heat standard.
Okay.
So you don't actually have to roll that. But I would like to know, like, who do you call in, like, is there a specific person that you know that you call to deal with this?
I'm just looking at her.
And it doesn't have to be someone that's on your character sheet. It can be someone that we just like.
Well, I imagine she probably just sort of lets the word, like, sort of talks to her. Feel like, for people that she can explicitly ask that she has a good relationship with, like, for instance, her smuggler friend, I could sort of imagine that she just explicitly does that. She just calls them up and says, hey, things went bad on the last job. Have you heard anything? Is people like looking for our ship or us? But in the case of people she doesn't know that well, it could be as simple as sort of massaging the relationship and not explicitly asking, just like finding out if they actually respond. Like, I can picture it's something she does semi-regularly anyway, because like her main thing in life is like contact and knowing the right people in different, or at least people in different sectors. So that being the case, yeah, it'd probably be sort of a handful of very minor phone calls to different people where nothing explicit was said, but just sort of touching base, seeing how they're going.
I wonder, here's a suggestion. If you just pop over to Aleph, which is it's a mining system. It's a mining planet. You've got heat in the Rin system, but if you could land there and get a meeting with someone, then with like one of your friends, you'd be able to get that heat off easily, and you could probably pull your I know a guy move.
All right, yeah, to ask about a job for the next.
If you wanted to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense too. It could be like, I mean, it's something that like she sort of says, hey, look, if we get down on this planet, I can talk to a guy and try and reduce our heat and like see what other options we have available to us. Yeah.
So yeah, Outpost SB-176 is the station that hovers over Aleph. It's like a mining platform, like Cloud City sort of thing.
What a romantic name for a mining platform.
Yeah, I know. Outpost SB-176. That's, you know, it's orderly. Yeah.
How do you feel about a romantic dinner to Outpost SP-476?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is that the thing is that it is like highly monitored and things. So if you're going down there, you might not you might want to roll a consort to be able to like have the credentials of like have someone invite you in so that you've got docking permission, because there's cameras and monitoring everywhere, but like all of the fine dining is very, very, like all of the hoity-toity people here are very, very wealthy. And then the people who are not wealthy, the people who actually do the fucking work, are very, very unwealthy. And they are not seen on the top decks at all, ever.
All right. So I'm rolling a consort.
It seems like a consort is what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you roll for I know a guy? Because we can just roll it into the I know a guy roll. You just do it for the I know a guy. Okay, so just consort to see what it looks like as you get down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we approach the Aleph, and like we see the swallow like leaving like a trail of like horrible grey-brown smoke in the like otherwise pink and blue like sunset atmosphere of the gas giant. As we like approach the giant, like it's basically a massive spherical structure like coming up from the clouds on a large set of like pipes that are going down to the gas giant. And yeah, we see you on the comms. What's the name of the person that you're getting in contact with?
I don't know.
Do you want a name?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. All right. Where is my? Oh, I'm supposed to have a list of names. Gosh. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you're catching up with Hondo Bartek, and he's quite well off. The Bartek family are suppliers of like industrial gear. So he's basically here as like a corporate ambassador. And he lives on station. And he's like third son to the Bartek Empire. And I feel like you've probably like been to social events or school or something like that with him. What like why is he friendly to you? Is it just because you're like you know each other from way back, or have you like done him favors, or?
If he's given that sort of family, I can imagine that like his family having some sort of renown much as mine. I can imagine that, like, whereas I was kind of the not quite black sheep, but still a bit sort of, until such time as I just sort of went, you know, like everything happened and then I'm leaving. Whereas this person was kind of the black sheep of their family, but is still in touch. So we kind of gelled because we probably were at social events together, and you know, ended up, especially if we were sort of teenagers, making snarky comments from the sidelines of "I can't believe I've been dragged on along to this shit," etc.
What is it that makes him a black sheep? Is he into something specific, or?
I'm not sure he so much appealed to me ever as was somebody who was kind of a bit malleable to her. Yeah, therefore, right. Probably the black sheep because he was a little bit more free-flowing with his sexuality than is probably reasonable and proper for his situation. Yeah. So therefore, even though we don't necessarily have a history in that regard, probably someone who spends a little bit too much time being flirty or, you know, doing slightly untoward things that his parents have had to occasionally clean up.
Yeah, cool. So, so yeah, like as soon as you get on the comms with him, you get like a hold message for about 15 minutes, and then like he pops up on the and like the hold music is like fucking awful, like it's pretentious orchestral stuff that means nothing.
I'm putting the whole music through the main speakers of the ship, just so everybody else can.
Everyone else has to deal with it. And I feel like it's and like you've still got the speaker on like through the whole ship when like he pops up on screen and it's like, well, if it isn't the Rose of the Thorn family, how lovely to see you again, Diana. Yeah, he appears with like full eye makeup and like deep red lipstick and like a massive deep V-neck collar, and like a velvet jacket or something.
I swear I actually know this guy.
Yeah, and he's like, what? How lovely to see you out here at SB176. This is a special surprise. What can I do for you?
I'm probably going to open by sort of flattering him a bit and going through all the usual rigmarole and sort of. I imagine there's a degree of playful banter.
Yeah.
Sort of.
He compliments whatever part of your dress is most revealing.
Yeah, well. So I would probably. I imagine that they probably have a running thing where they kind of overtly, like, the game is they flirt with each other without wanting to admit that it might actually be serious from either end, and neither of them know exactly how the other one feels, so it's sort of become a game.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Yeah. And yeah, he's doing that thing of like flirting as much as possible without anyone like being able to like pin him down and say you were flirting, because like he's just naturally very like, you know, emotive and friendly anyway, so maybe he's just being nice. Yeah. So do you want to roll your consort now to see like how this kind of goes down? And remember, if someone is helping you, I think someone is helping you, he's helping you, so you have a bonus dice.
Okay. So position,
Just standard. Risky.
risky.
Yeah, because like you are wanted in the system, but also
Yeah,
you
okay.
know him.
And effect,
Standard.
and bonus dice 1.
Cool.
4 to
5.
5.
Excellent. Very nice. So yeah, he's like, what can I do for you? And what do you suggest? What like when he wants to know why you're here? What do you say?
So what I would probably do by way like so she's not going to explicitly say like, hey, do you know how fucked we are? So what she would probably do is phrase it in terms of, yeah, our last run generated a few problems thanks to one of my crewmates. So we're looking for other work that's probably a little bit more on the down low. But the trick from her perspective would be wording it in such a way that she sort of simultaneously implies that he probably knows something about what already happened, and then getting him to respond to that in the affirmative or the negative, hopefully giving up more information about what people have been saying or what's on the grapevine about what happened to us.
Yeah, I think he's like, he's like, oh yes, I understand. I understand. You always have a way, and kind of suggests that he like knows more than he's saying, and then suggests that maybe we should catch up for drinks. There's this lovely spot. There's this lovely spot on the second deck. Beautiful view of the sunset. Always sunset, obviously, but it's a beautiful view.
It's called Alcohol Outpost SP35927.
It's literally like bar 14, right? Or like
nice.
or something like that. And he's like that he's inviting you to, and he's like, here, I'll send over I'll send up over a docking authorization for you. We'll make sure that you've got somewhere to stay. And like, you know, organizes all that so you can like actually rest somewhere overnight if you stay here. He's like, now do you,
That would be lovely, honey.
he's like, how many rooms do you need?
Well, I suppose 4 of us makes sense.
He's like,
Oh,
then I'll book 4. Maybe maybe all of them will even get used.
Let's not be pessimistic.
Yeah, and he
Lovely.
yeah, and he like buzzes you over the docking permissions. Cool. All right. So I think we then cut to like to it's basically a bar with like a balcony area that like sits out so that you can like look out over the gorgeous rolling clouds. But like there are very tightly dressed military guards standing at each of the doors. There are cameras, and then despite all the other things being like more about the drinking, there's a restaurant table like with a flower and candles and all those sorts of things set up on the balcony with 2 chairs, and he's sitting on one as you like enter the balcony. And yeah, and what does that scene look like as far as like the conversation? Because we don't have to like play through it. We can just kind of skip over it. But what do we see like in like the like montage?
I would imagine that given what he's like and his sort of performative nature is at stake here, basically talking about that like he has a table to himself with someone who's fairly unsubtly sort of keeping an eye on him, guarding, and setting himself up so that when I walk through the door, he can sort of flag me down in a very, very obvious way and have me strut across the room to join him at the table where he's probably got an open bottle of very expensive champagne on ice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think like we see like that shot from like quite far out the window where you're like, where like once you're sat down and talking and you're like, and like after that like moment of like you know, establishing where we're at. Like we cut to like, you know, like a conversation and stuff like that. What are you? So with your move, the I know a guy move, which of the options are you choosing?
I can't actually seem to expand it for some reason.
So it's on page 9 is the scoundrel. So your options are: it's not deadly, it pays well enough, it's not a rush job, it comes from a faction you trust, or it targets an enemy you have. You can spend money to add additional features to that. So you get one of those by default. For every cred you spend, you can add another one.
Alright, sorry, I'm just looking at this now. So, I think given the situation that we're in, which is that we've just kind of possibly angered a few more people than we should have, it comes from a faction you trust is probably the most important here. Like, I want something that we can do that has a low chance of like you know, being a double cross or someone potentially using it to screw us over.
Yeah, cool. I'm just looking at what factions do you trust?
Self.
I mean, you trust the Yanis Syndicate.
Because they helped get us an upgrade,
or rather, they like you, yeah.
Yaru kind of like us, right?
Yeah, the Yaru kind of like you. Also, it can just be his. It can just be his family. That's a thing. I wonder if that's Cobalt actually. Let me have a look at the factions. Cobalt Syndicate. Nah, it's not. Okay. So it's just so he's just his family would be a minor faction, and we can just add them as a faction. In fact, we could do that now. What was his name? Bartek. Hondo Bartek. That he's definitely a hegemony. Cool. Yeah. So he's definitely like. Sorry, I've forgotten which option you picked. It was not. It was from one you trust, right? Of course, you weren't going to spend money to get another one. All right, cool. Great. I just need to roll some dice. 1d6, 2d6, 3d6. Cool. All right. Well, what we might do is we might cut away from that. Definitely not a date. And while I'm working out what that job looks like that he knows about, we might do Tasha's downtime. Last downtime action.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
What are you feeling like doing, Tash?
It's like slightly risky because I don't have heaps of stress. I've only got 2 stress, but I don't want to start the next job with 3 stress, so I'm gonna indulge a vice.
Cool. All right. What vice are you indulging?
I am going to indulge. I've got 2 vices, and what I'm going to indulge is pleasure, and I'm going to go to a rave.
Cool.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And have a party. That'd be great.
Awesome. Do you go down decks below, like on the? Are we still on SB 176? And you like go down to the like workers area and go to like a
totally
go to a rave like actually in a gas processing plant?
Fuck yeah! It's like that scene in The Matrix.
Cool.
Yeah, right. It's like humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's rad.
It'd be great. Awesome. Yeah. I'm overstimulated as fuck and have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you like we see you like go like clank down like the fire escape like metal metal stairs, and like there's a bit where you're climbing down fire escape style, like rusty metal stairs on the outside of the station, as you're like descending, and there's only gas giant below you. And then it's like that scene in Spirited Away where she's like going down the stairs, and then you like get to the big like submarine style door, the way it's with the wheel, and like you have to like wheel it open, and like you head down. Like,
cool.
I'm like, what brings you down here in the first place? Like, because you'll find the rave, but why were you coming down here in the first place?
Yeah. Okay. Like, as in down like a below decks specifically, or like
below like, below the nice part.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that like probably there's kind of not flashbacks, but like maybe superimposed like visuals of like Tash going essentially on like a station that looks basically identical because they're prefab kind of thing, but is a different station going the opposite direction, because probably like part of her escape involved like kind of, you know, getting out through this like these worker sections into the like nicer areas. And like for her, like the worker sections are like definitively better. Like the people there are like have more in common with her, but also like less likely to try and like, you know, sell her out, or like, not to say they're not bigoted, but they've got like their own shit to worry about. They're not like rich people who are gonna like bounty hunt her or something, you know?
Yeah.
They're probably not Yaru seekers or something like that. And so she like tends to hang out in like seedier places anyway. And also it's like less kind of pretensions of like restraint and society and that kind of thing, which she's not really actually very good at, like doing, you know, kind of people things. She doesn't know etiquette.
So you just feel like cool. So
most of her life she was a mining drone, like
exactly. So you'd make like and this is a mining place, right? Like
exactly, yeah.
Cool.
Totally.
So like we see you like going down, and like I feel like we see you like for a bit like just drinking in like a mess hall or something with some with some workers, and then then like some and then like I feel like one of them like, you know, like grabs your arm and like it's like, come and like fucking get wrecked with us, like
and there's like that moment of like, you know, kind of in like staring like what's gonna happen here, how's she gonna react, and then of course she goes along.
Cool.
So,
roll your indulgence.
Cool. So I roll my lowest attribute, which is 0. So
in which case, okay, if you're getting help from someone, which it doesn't sound like you are, but if you were, you'd get a bonus dice.
I mean, like if Sampha wants to come, or I mean, I don't think Diana would want to come, but if Diana wants to come, awesome.
Like occupied.
Yeah. If Sampha wants to come, totally. Like it's like, yeah, sweet, awesome. You want to come to a rave? Let's do it.
So you get a bonus.
Yeah, maybe I was just following you and I didn't know it was a rave. And I was just like, yeah, this is where the pets are at. Like, cool.
Yeah. And maybe like, you know.
Do you mean the giant rats, the giant like possum rat things that inhabit the station in the lower decks?
Oh my god.
They're beautiful.
That's one of your pets.
Yeah.
And I can totally picture, like, I mean, we'll see how they whether I overindulge or not, but I can picture the way that Sampha helps fiction-wise being something like, you know, Tash is maybe about to do something ill-advised or whatever, and doesn't actually realize Sampha's kind of in the area, and Sampha's like, no, don't, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Or somehow, like, you know, makes it less bad. But we'll see how my roll goes. Cool, so I get a bonus dice, yes. 3. Nice.
Nice.
But that is still overindulging because I actually only had 2 stress. So, because I was going to have a 3rd stress.
Right? Then you would have rolled 2 and took the lowest.
Sorry.
If you might have been better not to have help because you would have rolled 2 and took the lowest. Anyway.
Oh no.
Let's have a look. So you overindulge. So did you go on a bender? Did you Did you brag about your exploits, or did you get lost?
I reckon bender probably, but I'm looking at what page is it on.
It's on page 43. A bender means that you either reduce your stash by 4, which is like money, or take take a loan worth 2 cred.
So the other option, the brag about exploits one, is we get heat, right? Which would totally
you would completely negate
what Diana's doing.
Negate all my good work.
I'm gonna go on a bender. I reckon.
Okay, you're gonna accrue a loan worth 2.
Yeah, how bad is that? Like, what does that kind of? How does that play out mechanically?
So it means that like loans have to be played back. Need to be paid back at a rate of 2 to 1. So you'll have to pay back 2 credits for every 1 loan. So that's 4 total.
Okay.
And if you don't do it quick enough, people come looking for you.
Yeah. Is there like a set time limit, or is it like, it's up to whoever the person is?
I can't remember. It's, where is it? Loans, debt, and healing. So you have a loan of 2. Cool. Debt is paid off at a rate of 2 to 1. Yeah, you could work a long-term project to try and like. So there's a clock that is basically people are going to come and look for you.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go with the that option, going to debt, because it seems more interesting at this point than just getting more heat that we've just gotten rid of. So
yep.
I'll take that.
Cool. Awesome.
So debt gets ticked off on the ship, doesn't it?
Yes.
Alrighty.
I think, or is it on the sheet for the ship, or is it on the sheet for the player?
It's there is debt listed on the ship.
Okay, cool.
Assume, yeah.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, you buy a bunch of like fucking expensive drugs and alcohol. I think we see you like buying some kind of like crazy future like illicit substance device. Like the ones that have like a gas canister and like buttons on the side. And it's like it's like fucking like vaping like a water pistol.
Yeah, awesome.
and like we just like Sampha, what do we see of you considering the fact that Tash is just getting absolutely wrecked?
Yeah.
At one point she buys drinks for everyone in the club.
Oh my god.
I'm sitting there being like, well, you know what? I tried to bed the ship. This can't be that bad.
You two are fucking terrible. Alright.
Sorry.
Cool.
We're not a very disciplined crew.
So I'm making sure that my own drinks are paid for by a rich guy that I'm flirting with.
Yeah.
You buy the whole bar around.
Absolutely.
Or 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Very much so.
I feel like you pay for the like. There's a thing that they can do where they just turn the just inject some kind of like narcotics into the ventilation system, but like someone has to pay for it, and that's what like the buying the round. So like what? You see like the flashing lights and like the person like standing in front of the boiler with like a massive like holo display in front of them that they're like disc spinning like the holo discs. that are just like hovering in the air before them. And like
it's like,
and then there's the giant like mesh below with like the actual gas processing that's like coming up, and like they're all like just moshing. And then at some point like you stand up on the bar that's at the back of the room, and like everyone turns around, and you grab this like massive lever, and like you pull it down, and everyone goes yeah, and like this like heavy like cyan like mist just descends on the whole rave, and the DJ just like puts his hands up and like kicks in another drop for a new tune, and the entire fucking thing, and we just cut to Sam for being like, guess so.
Yes.
Rad.
Excellent. I love it.
Hey, Alyssa.
Yo.
He's got a job for you. Because there's this guy that keeps selling shit. There's someone who's smuggling stuff out from his from his family's operation, like basically stealing from them and then fencing it to pirates. And he needs to like at least be captured, or like if you put a like a marker on him, like a tagging marker, then he can be like hunted down by bigger forces. It's mostly the point of the fact that because he's a slippery fella, you'll have to find him, and like, you know, like physically like put something on him or something like that, or capture him and bring him back to the Bardic family.
It's like the kind of thing we would try and do, fail spectacularly and steal a ship over.
Potentially. But yeah, like he's, as far as you know, he's probably actually hanging out in the, where is it? What's it called? Rin. He's probably hanging out in the Cove. So the Ashtari cloud is this massive. There's this massive nebula that it was caused like in solar system like minor nebula, because as far as anyone can tell, back in the days of the predecessor of the we're pretty sure that one of their like spaceships, like their hyperdrive ships, just fucking exploded, and those tended to be like the size of planets. So now where there was a planet, so now like there's just this like massive nebula full of like broken junk and like other ships that have been like wrecked and pulled in to be pulled apart by the pirates and all these sorts of things.
Cool.
And it's called the Cove. No, the Cove is a station that has been like bolted together out of all of these things in there, that like floats around inside the Ishtari cloud. And this guy is apparently in there. You're looking for a dude that just goes by the name of Kingston, and like yeah, he's basically a fence for stolen mechanical goods. But yeah.
All right. Well, the first thing I need to do is
But basically, he's offering you like, I'll take a little bit of the heat off for you, and you can maybe do a job for me. I'll even pay you. And he's like, he's like, not like that. Obviously, it's purely professional.
I'm sure he's very smooth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, he's like when he's talking about the pirates, you can see him being like a little bit like because for him it's like, that's fucking terrifying and dangerous, but I'm pretty sure that this lady knows how to do those things, so it's fine. He'd like to stay here in Toff City.
Well, I need to send information about the job back to my crew so they can approve it.
Like cuts to us,
like you like we see you like get on the comms and you're like Tash, and you just hear right? Like some like horrible space rhythm that no one in the real world would dance to, but it's like sci-fi, so it's fine.
I think I would probably call
I mean, Sam, for your phone goes off.
I was just like, oh shit, Diane. Hey, Diane.
I'm gonna pause it. Are you drunk?
Maybe there's something in the air.
I've got a possible job if we're interested in helping track someone down.
Yes. Let's trap them and down them.
Okay, that was a faster response than I expected. I'll take that as a yes then. Right, I'm going to take drunk yes as a totally reasonable yes, and it's no longer on me. So,
as captain of this ship, I declare thee correct.
Tequila shot?
Hey!
I like the fact that we cut to you like doing tequila shots, and there's like the worm creature in the like tequila bottle being like, no, don't, oh no.
Oh my god! Some Jabba the Hutt bullshit. It's great.
An
It
extremely
makes it all
small
the better.
xenomorph face hugger or chest burster. That's
You wanted a pet, right?
Oh god.
Didn't want to eat the pet.
But
That's okay. It'll come back out.
All right. Well, I feel like we then like should we just like cut to like Sampha at the like groggily sitting over the controls and of the Unladen swallow, and Diana like nursing a well-known like preparing like a well-known hangover cure that she's like capable of preparing even if she's like completely wrecked, and just like handing and like putting it into the hand of Tash, who is just completely drained of like blood in her face and just staring off into the distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we pick up and fly and like the sky transitions from the like pinks and yellows of the sunset on the gas planet through like a deep purple into the blue black of space, and we should take a break there. We'll jump on break again. We'll be back in a minute, chat. Bye.